All right, I'm going to go through the perspective worksheets step by step so you can do them along with me. I'm going to go kind of fast though, so if you need to slow this down, pause it, or else this video is going to be like 20 minutes long. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw my horizon line somewhere, it doesn't matter where, but ish in the middle. I'm going to try to draw dark so that you can see my lines in the video. Hopefully they do show up. First thing, horizon line. Next thing, vanishing point. So somewhere in the middle, I want to draw a dot right on that line. Then I'm going to draw 3 squares along the left side here. I'm not going to move my ruler. I'm just going to use the width of the ruler, make it easy. So I'm going to close off those squares. Erase part of that one. Oops, got a little short on that one. And last one. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to draw my orthogonal lines towards the vanishing point. And these are those lines that are not vertical, they're not horizontal, they're going toward the vanishing point. I'll do the first one on top, and I'm going to draw it almost all the way, because if I draw it all the way, I have to erase a lot. So I'm going to draw it partially, like that far. And then I'm going to draw connect this corner to that vanishing point with my ruler, draw a line that's about the same length. This corner over here, I'm going to draw that toward the vanishing point. And I'm not going to draw one from this corner because I'd have to draw over my original square. I don't want to do that. I want to leave it clean. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler. This is what you see here in this step right here. They're lining the ruler along the edge, and then without wiggling it, they're going to slide it out as straight as they can to the edge or the end of one of the lines that's already drawn. So I drew it there. That's what I did here. So I moved it from here out to there. Next, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to line up my ruler, not going to wiggle it. I'm going to drag it down to this point right here where these two lines intersect. Right there, draw my line across, erase the extra stuff, and I have a box floating in the sky where I can see underneath and the side of it at the same time. I'm going to do the one at the bottom. I'll move my paper up a little bit so you can see it more centered. Same thing, I'm going to take a corner, I'm going to put my pencil on it, I'm going to make my ruler touch that dot and draw a line towards the vanishing point. Pencil tip on the corner, ruler to the vanishing point, draw a line. Pencil on the corner, ruler on the dot, vanishing point. And then line up my ruler, drag it out straight somewhere out here. Let's go a little further so I don't have to erase so much. And then line up my ruler on the original square. Drag it out to this point here and draw a line across. I made this line too short, so I'm going to extend it a little bit with my ruler. There we go. And last but not least, this one, I want to put my ruler on, or sorry, put my pencil on a corner, connect it to my ruler, and then connect that ruler to the vanishing point. Draw a line toward it. This corner, same thing, point on the corner, ruler to the dot, draw my line. Oop. That's why I hate mechanical pencils. And then I can't draw one from this corner because I draw over the original square if I try to connect the corner to the dot. The same thing goes for the bottom corner. I'd go over my original square. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to leave it alone. Line up my ruler, drag it out to the edge without turning it around. I want to keep it nice and straight. Draw my line, and then I'm going to erase this line in the middle because now it's covered up by the square. So I've got my square on top, square on the bottom, and the square right on the horizon line. I see the top of this box because it's below the horizon. I don't see the top or the bottom of this box because if this is like a building or a large shelf or a cabinet, I wouldn't see the top of it because I'm not tall enough to see that. My perspective is I'm below the horizon, therefore I can't see above it. And I'm also standing on the ground, so I can't see. It's not floating above the horizon, so I can't see underneath it. So there we go. If I can darken this part here to see it even a little bit clearer. There we go. 3 cubes. On the back side, we have a room, the interior of a room. First thing we're going to do is going to draw an X that goes from corner to corner. And then I'm going to draw a square where the corners of that square touches each one of these lines. See how the square here is touching, the corner is touching the line? I want to do the same thing. So I'm going to try to keep my ruler straight. I'm not going to try to tilt it. I'm going to keep it as even as the sides of this square here that I'm drawing inside. Drag it down to about there. Draw my line going across, my horizontal line. And I'm going to use this as a guide now so I know where to draw my vertical line. I can do the same thing on this side. I'm lining up, trying to keep it nice and square. My ruler, drag it out to touch this point here. Draw my line, and hopefully the bottom should line up pretty well. There we go. All right, I'm going to erase all this stuff in the middle. Sorry, it's going to make my camera shake because my camera mount is attached to the table, so it shakes. I'm going to draw a dot where you can still see, if you look closely, you can still see kind of the ghost of my lines there. I'm going to put a dot right in the middle. And then I'm going to draw the door, which is a vertical line that touches this space here, this line here, up towards the top. Draw a line from the top of this to the dot. Not all the way. I want to keep it on the wall. Maybe there. And then draw a vertical line going down to the floor. Because that's what this is now. This is the floor, ceiling, and 2 walls. I'm going to do another line around here and make it look like a door frame. Straight up and down. Went a little taller than my original line before, so I have some space to draw it towards the vanishing point. And then back down the other side. Put a little dot on there. There's your doorknob. Now I'm going to put a window, or maybe it's a picture frame, or maybe it's a plasma TV. Draw a line, a vertical line somewhere along the wall. Take the top and the bottom of that line toward the vanishing point. Not all the way, you want to keep it on the wall. So I'm going to stay on this side of the line. Then I'm going to draw a line going straight up and down. Just like this line here, line it up, drag it out. There you go. I'm going to do the same thing again. This time I'm going to do it on the inside because why not? I can do it on the outside or the inside. I'll do it on the inside. So I'm going to choose a spot, put my pencil so I can draw my vertical line going up and down. Then I'm going to take the line I just drew and I'm going to connect it to the dot in the center. And stop before I get to the edge, that other line I drew there. Put my pencil on that line, connect the ruler to the dot. Boop. And connect those two. There we go. Now we have some sort of window or picture or whatever. This one here, what starts right there, this is the floor. And what this shows you here, it's kind of hard to see, but there are little dots right here on the back wall. And what that is, it's a measurement to space out the floor. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to start one in the center, and then I'm just going to go to the side like that. Now I'm going to connect these dots to that dot with my ruler, and I'm going to draw a line just on the floor. And in the drawing here, they connect a line connected all the way to that dot. I don't want to erase all that, so I'm just going to draw the lines on the floor. Connect the dots together with my ruler, pencil on the dot, pencil on the dot, connecting it to the vanishing point all the time, and see how that the floor kind of flares out. Remember that triangle of the road on the mountain painting, the drawing that I showed in class? If you didn't see it, basically think of like a road or a railroad track. You see that drawing where it goes towards a vanishing point? This floor does the same thing. Now this line right here, this is a weird line. They're drawing a line from this corner to this corner, and what that's showing you, it's kind of a trick. I'm going to draw this really lightly. Hopefully you can still see it. See that line I drew from this corner to that corner? What I'm going to do with that is every time it crosses one of these lines here, I'm going to draw a horizontal line through that intersection. Start at the top. And then right here is another intersection of that guideline I drew. And then right there's the next one. And what this is doing, it's spacing out the tiles so that they look like they're getting longer as they get closer to the bottom of the drawing. So in perspective, these would be bigger because they're closer, and these are smaller because they're further away. And that includes this way as well as this way. So there we go. I can erase this guideline and my picture is done. Last but not least are weird shapes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take every corner of all of these shapes, I'm going to draw a line towards the vanishing point. And then I'm going to recreate the shape edge on those orthogonal lines. Now, the boxes are pretty self-explanatory. We already did that here. So I'm going to start over here in the corner, put my pencil on a corner of the square, or rectangle in this case, connect my ruler to the dot and my pencil, and draw a short line. Short line, and over here, pencil, ruler, dot, short line. And what I'm going to do is recreate over and up. So I'm going to go over horizontally and then up vertically, just like the original. And there's my first square, cube, rectangle. I'll do this one over here. Same thing. Dot to corner, dot to corner, dot to corner. And these can be as thin or as thick as you want. I can make this really thin. Here, let's make it even thinner. And recreate over, straight across, a horizontal line, and then up from this little spot that I created here, just like that. All right, I'm going to shade this in so you can see it a little better. And I like to shade with two different values so you can see the sides are a little different. Maybe the light source is coming from this direction. All right, I'm going to move on to this more complex form. This rectangle has a notch cut out of it. So I put my pencil on a corner and I connect it to the dot. I can't do it from this corner because if I did, I would draw over the original shape. Here's another corner. It's not a right angle, but it is a corner, so I'm going to put my ruler on my pencil and the dot and towards that vanishing point. I'm going to do it from this corner towards the vanishing point, this corner, and this is a weird one. It's an interior corner. It's this spot right here. I'm going to draw a line from there towards the vanishing point as well. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I have drawn lines from every corner that I can. I'm now going to redraw the edge of this shape within the orthogonal lines I just drew. So in other words, this original shape goes over, up, down, over. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to go over, up, down, over. Now the over is easy. I can just take my ruler, drag it down somewhere. Let's see the shortest line. There we go. And I'm going to draw a line here and here because it's what's happening above it. See this line's going straight across. I want to draw one there, there, and there. Let's erase some of this extra stuff so it's not confusing. Now how do I draw this? Same way. I use my ruler to line up that shape. Now what I want to do is take my ruler to line up that edge of the shape, and I'm going to, without wiggling it, I'm going to just drag it out to this point right here. Line it up, drag it out, draw that line between these two. Same thing over here. Line it up. And now I got two spots. I could actually even do this without using the ruler, but I can just connect this corner to this corner, but I'm going to use my ruler to show you that it's actually going to work without even me doing that. Line up the ruler, drag it out. There we go. Connect those two intersections. Erase that extra stuff there. Now we have the underside of a notched box. I'm going to skip doing these two since those are pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to do these weird shapes down here. I'm going to do the star first, and basically it's the exact same thing. I'm going to take my vanishing point and I'm going to see which corners of this this star I can touch with my ruler. So I'm going to use this corner here, go towards the vanishing point. This interior corner, just the same as this. Vanishing point. This corner here, same thing. This is another corner. I can see it. I can connect it to the dot, the vanishing point, so I might as well draw it. This point here, same thing. This one back here, it's real narrow, so I can look through my ruler here and I can see if I draw a line, I'm not actually drawing over the original shape. So I'm going to do it. And I can't draw one there, can't draw one there, can't draw one here. I'm done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate each of these angles by taking my ruler, lining it up along the original shape edge here. I'm going to drag it out. Without shifting the ruler as best I can. Draw a line from point to point. So now I have a starting point right here to know where to draw my other line I'm lining up here. Take my ruler, line it up, drag it out to this point right here. Draw my line. It's looking really skinny, but that looks correct. When it's all finished, it won't look wrong. Line up my ruler, drag it out to this new point I created right here, this intersection. I have a new intersection here. I'm going to try to line it up with this edge right there. Drag it out to that point and draw my line. Erase this extra stuff so it looks a little cleaner. And then this one over here, it's kind of weird. I know it's going to look just like the line that's drawn right here. It's a very open angle. So like this is a kind of a pointed angle. What I'm doing is I'm drawing an angle that is like this. So it's really wide open. It's almost a flat line. Lining up my ruler, I'm going to drag it out. I drew this line this short here, kind of like how I drew the other ones. I'm going to guess it's right. Line it up, drag it out. Draw that line. It's kind of goofy looking, I know, but it's right. I can go in here and I can shade some of these to kind of show it a little bit better. It's kind of messy shading, but you get the point, right? There we go. Looks three-dimensional now, doesn't it? All right, I'm gonna have you figure this one out yourself because it's pretty much this with different angles. The circle is gonna be a little different. What you do is you take your ruler, you put it on the vanishing point, and then you rotate it without it. Don't take it off the vanishing point. You want to rotate it. You can actually put your pencil there if you want, so it doesn't move on you. And you can rotate that ruler, and when it first touches that shape, you draw your line towards the vanishing point. Again, I put my pencil on the dot. I'm going to use that as an anchor, and I'm going to rotate this ruler until it touches the very first part of that circle, the very outer last part, and draw my line. And just like what I did here with going over, up, down, over, or over here was kind of like angle down, angled out, angle down, angled out, I'm going to recreate this curve here best I can. Starting, let's say right here, and I drew this line. This line's pretty long. Actually, I'm going to erase part of that. I want it to be the same length as the one above it. And between these two lines, I'm going to draw a nice big curve coming out just like the other side. Like this side comes out, I'm going to do the same thing here. There we go. You can actually shade this if you want to really enforce that idea that this is a rounded surface. It'll be dark on the bottom and it'll get lighter as it gets closer towards the top, like that. If I drew this by myself without this line pre-drawn, I would erase this dark line right here in the middle, but I can't because it is a printed line. So there you go. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.